So hello everyone, welcome back. This is Mayank Kothari. In this lecture, we are going to start with question number 2 of the derivatives analysis and valuation. We have discussed the pricing of forward and futures in the previous lecture, and the same will be applied in the coming question. So you can say that we are going to revise those concepts again with the help of these questions. Okay. So let's start without wasting our time with question number 2. You can see there are multiple things given and you are going to learn a lot more things with the help of the question. You can say that till now, in the previous 2 lectures, we have discussed only 20% of the concept. The 80% clarity will come in these questions. 6 months forward contract. Have a look. The 6 months forward price of a security is 208.18. That means F is already given to you. They are not asking you to calculate the forward price. They are asking you to calculate the spot price. So the very first question itself is a reverse question, right? The borrowing rate is 8% per annum payable with monthly rest. That means you can write down here as monthly compounding. That means what is going to happen? If you want to if you want to buy the stock in the spot market, you have to borrow money for the 6 months, right? But the money that you are getting from the bank, on that interest has to be paid on a monthly basis. So that's why we have to calculate a forward contract formula in such a way that the interest is paid on per month basis or compounded monthly, because whatever is the cash flow in the spot market should become the theoretical price of the futures. Now if I draw this is a spot price which has to be calculated. Forward price is given to us 208.18. So if you want to buy this stock in the spot price, you will have to go and borrow money from the bank in the spot market or the cash market, and you will pay the interest on that over a period. This amount, let's say X, and you will pay the interest on that on a monthly basis. So whatever is the cash flow at this point of time, whatever is the cash outflow at this point of time, this will become the theoretical price in the forward market today. So let's create a formula for that. It's nothing but the amount that you have to pay after 6 months as a repayment of the borrowings. This is the amount that you are going to borrow today. This is the amount, this is the rate of interest structure. This is nothing but the time value of money formula. Compound amount is equal to principal in bracket 1 plus R divided by N. N specifies the number of compounding, T specifies the total time. So we can create a formula like this for the forward as well. F is equal to S in bracket 1 plus R divided by N to the power NT. Let's start putting the figures. 208.18, right? Spot price is what we have to calculate. 1 plus rate of interest is 0.08. Number of compounding in a year, that is per annum. This is monthly rest, monthly compoundings. How many times a rate is compounded if it is given monthly? 12 times in a year. So we are going to write down like this. Although we don't want compounding for the entire year, we want it for the 6 months itself. And what are we going to do in the numerator? See, NT for N, number of compounding in a year 12 times, and the time is only half a year, 0.5. So ultimately the numerator, the power will come to 12 into 0.5, that is 6 only, because 6 times we are compounding in a 6 months period. Let's find out the answer to this. 0.08 divided by 12, okay, plus 1 into to the power 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That comes to 1.04067. 1.04067. So if you take that 1.04067 on the left hand side and divide it by 208.18, then you will get the spot price, which will be 200.04. So this is your final answer. Today the stock is costing you in the spot market at 200 rupees. You can either take a position in the spot market or take a position in the forward market. If this forward price, see, this is the actual price. This is the actual market price of forward or futures. And understand the logic why you can calculate the actual market price through the formula. if the forward is fairly valued, it means that actual forward price is equal to theoretical forward price. And then you can calculate the theoretical forward price through this formula and put the values of actual forward price in place of theoretical forward price. So this is what the meaning is. When we say the forwards are fairly valued, yani properly valued or correctly valued, then we can say actual futures price is equal to theoretical futures price, right? And then you can use this formula to calculate the spot rate. Okay, let's move on to the next question now. Pretty much okay. Consider a 3-month maturity forward contract on a non-dividend paying. So there is no dividend in this question. The stock is available for 200. Can I say that this is a spot market price with a compounded continuously risk-free rate of interest of 10%? See, they have clearly mentioned that the rate of interest has to be taken on a basis of continuous compounding. If there is a normal compounding, you do it 1 plus R. If there is a multiple compounding, you do it like this, 1 plus R divided by n to the power nt. And if there is a continuous compounding, you do it s into e to the power rt. You understand the difference? In the previous lecture, I discussed about this one and this one. I did not discuss about this one, but it is a part of the game. Okay, let's continue. We have to calculate a forward contract, and the question is the formula will be very simple. F is equal to S into the bracket e to the power RT. There is no dividend, so there will be no deduction of the same. Spot price is given to you as 200 rupees. So it will be like 200 into e to the power. Understand the rate of interest. What is the rate of interest here? What is the rate of interest? 10%. So R will be 0.10 and the time, T for time, this is 10% and T for time, 3 months. Time in a year, you cannot keep 3. You can keep 3 by 12 or 0.25. Got it? See, 200 into e to the power 0.25 into 0.10. So I will just mention this, that this is a time and this is a rate. So what is the exact percentage here? 200 into e to the power 0.025, 2.5%. Okay, how to calculate e to the power 0.025? See, in this is a study material question. If the same question will be asked in the exam, they will have to give you the value of e in the question. So don't worry about it. But still, worst to worst situation, you should know how to calculate the value of e to the power 0.025. So place the value of e. You should remember the value of e, 2.7183. Over a period by the end of the syllabus, you will have to remember this formula. Thus this value, 2.7183 to the power 0.025. Now place 2.7183 on the calculator. Press square root button 12 times. Press -1. Then multiplied by what is there in the power, 0.025. Plus 1 into equal to 12 times. This is what you have to remember again. 2.7183. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. -1 into 0.025 plus 1. Then into equal to 12 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12, 10, 11, 12. 1.025318. So it is going to look like this, 200 into 1.0253. That comes to 205.06, exactly matching with the answer of the institute. No rounding of difference, in fact. Got the answer? What actually we learned in this question? Continuous compounding. What did we learn in the previous question? Monthly compounding. Okay, so couple of things that I think you should write straight away. We learned about monthly compounding in this question. The learning, I think, should be mentioned. Monthly compounding. then continuous compounding. Okay, let's move on to the question number 4. Now we will introduce the dividend also. Step by step I am going and including everything in the chapter. Have a look. Just a second, let me adjust the chair. Yeah. Consider a 4-month forward contract. Now the forward contract's time is 4 months. On 500 share with each share priced at 75. This is the price of a share, not a forward contract. This is nothing but spot price. Okay. Now, dividend at rupees 2.50 per share is expected to accrue to the share in a period of 3 months. Now, this was a 4 months forward contract. But you first of all, you are getting a dividend in terms of rupees rate or yield. It's a rupees straight away, direct amount. You don't have to convert this amount in a 3-month or a 4-month time. Forget about that. But you are not receiving this dividend at expiry. Understand the logic of the concept. And another thing is continuously compounded rate of return, risk-free rate of return. So this is E. You should understand this CCRRI. Okay. They have used it E here. Okay. Now, amount is given to us. Understand the logic. We have to calculate the value of the forward contract. We can call it as a theoretical market price. Now this is a time. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4 months time. Spot price is, if you buy the share at 75 rupees today, you will get the dividend of 2.50 after 3 months. And you have to calculate a forward price for a 4-month contract. That means this is nothing but a price which has to be, which could have been paid if we want to achieve the same objective in the spot market after 4 months. So basically the outflow in the spot market at this point will automatically become the forwards or futures price in the derivatives market. Understand? In the spot market, whatever is the outflow after 4 months, if you want to achieve the same purpose, this will be that exact value will be the theoretical price in the forwards market. Now, how to create a formula? There are 2 options I told you earlier also. What you can do is you can take this 2.5 1 month forward and this 75 4 months forward. This is one way of achieving the answer. Another way, I will just tell you. Another way is bring this 2.5 back to this point at 0 point. So basically you are discounting 2.5 rupees. Adjust it with 75 and take this net figure till the end of the 4 months. Most of the time, see, I will tell you, bringing 2.5 rupees, like taking forward 2.5 rupees by 1 month is easier than bringing it back by 3 months and then taking the net figure to 4 months. This is little complicated. The simple way is to take 2.5 1 month forward and 75 4 month forward. That's it. And then deduct both these amounts. Right. But Institute has followed this approach, the one that is written here. Take the present value of 2.50 first, bring it to 0th time, adjust it in the 75 rupees and take the net figure to the 4th month's value. And apart from that, this is not that easy. You have to use the continuous compounded rate of return. So what happens is, this is the net figure which you are going to multiply with e to the power RT. R means the rate of interest which is 10% per annum. Have a look. Rate of interest which is 10% per annum and the time is 4 months out of 12. So basically you are converting this 10% rate into 4 months rate and then taking this net figure to the 4 months end. But how to calculate the present value, sir? How to calculate the present value? See, future value is calculated by taking a positive figure in the power and the present value is calculated taking the negative figure in the power. So it will be like this. 2.5 multiplied by e to the power minus RT. Minus R will be 10% and T will be 3 months out of 12, because you have to take this 2.5 3 months backwards, right? You have to discount 2.5 by 3 months. So you will take minus RT, and e to the power minus RT is nothing but 1 divided by e to the power RT. Simple. So you just take the inverse of this figure, I will tell you. And the logic is very simple. 1 plus R is equal to 1.1. This is the future value factor. How to calculate the present value factor of this? Just inverse this figure. 1 divided by 1 plus R. 1 divided by 1.1, which is 0.909. This is present value factor. Now tell me, how did you convert the future value factor in the present value factor? By reversing the future value factor. So if e to the power RT is the future value factor, the inverse of that will be the present value factor. Now let's look at the answer step by step. Okay. Two, three, four. What exactly is going to happen? 1, 2, 3, 4. Spot price. This is the cash market. This is the futures market. The spot price is 75 here. You are going to receive 2.5 rupees of the dividend. You have to calculate the forward price here. The forward price is nothing but the cash outflow at this point of time. Okay. So what exactly we are going to do? First thing that we are going to do is we are going to take this 2.5 to 0th time. Then we are going to deduct it from the 75, and then the net figure will be taken again at till the end of the 4 months. That's it. And this will be your final answer for the forward contract. So the first step, second step, and third step. Third step is automatic. Okay, let's write down. First of all, forward price is nothing but, and all these things should be done at the continuous compounded rate of return. S in bracket. Have a look. I will have to create a formula. I have to deduct present value of dividend first. This is the first step, and then I will take e to the power RT. Again, the next step, S minus dividend into, understand, 1 divided by e to the power RT. Now understand the logic of this formula. Because you have to calculate the present value, you are taking it in inverse, like it is 1 divided by e to the power RT. If you just simply write e to the power RT, that means you want to calculate the future value. This means you want to calculate the present value. Now put the formulas here. 75 rupees minus 2.5 rupees of the dividend into 1 divided by e to the power, rate of return is 10% and the time is 0.25. That means 3 by 12. Can I write down like this? 3 by 12, because I have to discount the dividend only by 3 months, multiplied by e to the power 0.10 rate of interest, multiplied by 4 by 10. Why 4 by 10? Because I have to take all the figures from 0th to the 4 months time, because the forward contract is for 4 months. So I have to calculate the outflow in the spot market at the end of the 4 months if I do the same transaction. So this net amount should be taken to the 4 months end. Now let's try solving this. 7.5 minus 2.5 divided by e to the power 0.025, am I right? Into e to the power 12, in this case 0.033. So let's try solving this. 7.5 minus 2.5 divided by How to calculate e to the power 0.025? Have a look. I will just show you now. I hope it's visible to you. Hmm. 2.7183. Okay, on the calculator. Let's just start with this. This brings a little clarity on the screen. So now 12 times square root 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 minus 1 multiplied by what is there in the power, that is 0.025 plus 1. Okay, don't press equal to, then into equal to 12 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's 1.0253. Okay. Again, e to the power 0.0333. So let's do it once again. 2.7183 is the value of e. That is what you have to remember. 12 times square root 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 minus 1 multiplied by 0.0333. Okay, plus 1 into equal to 12 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's 1.033. Okay, so let's proceed. And before that, let's improve the part. We had 75 rupees in this case, not 7.5. So I can do this entire calculation at one stroke in the calculator. Okay, I just want to show you how to do that so that you can save your time in exams. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to take minus 2.50 divided by 1.0253. Say 2.50 divided by 1.0253. Okay, press equal to and press plus minus answer, and then you can press add 75 in that multiplied by 1.03386. So this is your answer, 75.02. Let me just check it once again. 2.50 divided by 1.0253 minus 75 plus minus 72.56, right, into 1.03386. So it comes to 75.02 itself. So ultimately it is coming to almost the same price as the spot. Why? I will tell you. Because the value of this, the amount that you are bringing back, the amount that you are deducting from the 75 is the same amount that we are taking forward by 4 months. That means the part 1 is equal to the part 2. Part 1 is equal to the part 2 means the amount that you are deducting from 75 is the same amount for the 3 months, is the same amount that you are adding to 70 to this net figure in the second part. And that's why the answer is coming to close to the same figure. So let's find out. Okay, one more thing the question has asked us is, this is very important and this is a mistake from my side, that the question is not asking you to calculate the price of the forward contract, but instead it is asking you to calculate the value of the forward contract. This is the price of the forward contract, only one share, and we have purchased around 500 share in this entire question. So if you do the calculation, we can write down like this. This is the price of forward, and now we can calculate value of forward contract, which will be pretty easy to do that. 75.02 multiplied by 500, that comes to 37,509. That should become your value of the forward contract. Have a look. 37, see, my answer was 37,509, here 37,498, and it is all because of the rounding off of the differences, nothing else. It's just the difference of 8 to 9 rupees, and that is all because of the rounding off. You can do the calculation. Let's see, I will just show you some if something we can match it. First of all, let's take the dividend proceeds. So 500 into 2.50, 1250 is the dividend proceeds. See, what they are doing is they are just increasing the calculation, which you can avoid simply because you don't have to multiply the entire equation or the answer by 500 except for the last step. There is no point in doing that and like adding the extra calculation to your exam or answer. So let's just find out. If you divide, let's see, if you divide this again by 500, you will get the present value of the dividend, 1219.13 divided by 500, which comes to 2.4383, right? Let's find out the dividend here. The answer of this 2.50 divided by 1.0253, this comes to 2.4383. This is also coming to 2.4383. This is also coming to 2.4383, right? And the same amount, 1219, is being deducted from 75 into 500. The same amount is being deducted from 75 rupees. So practically speaking, this answer comes to the same thing. Yeah, one more thing that you can say is that you can just remove this one more figure and round it off to 4 digits only, so 1.0339. If you do that, what is going to happen? The answer is going to slightly change, only slightly. So 75 minus 2.4383 into 1.0339. So if you do that, it's not even slightly changing, man. 0.02 itself. The perfect answer if you want to calculate is 37509 and it is 37498. The difference is because of the rounding off only. So did you understand? Have you understood how to calculate it? It's very simple, but the only thing is to understand the minute details given in the question. Okay, let's practice more with this question. What was the learning in question number 4? Let's write down. The learning in the question number 4 was about the dividend in rupees. Now we are going to learn about the dividend in yield. I told you 6%. This is going to be per annum. This is going to be per annum. This is continuous compounded rate. So e to the power RT will be the formula. Unless and otherwise given, we are going to assume it as a per annum. Okay. First of all, this dividend is not declared by the company. If it is yield, it is calculated on 1400 rupees. R is also calculated on the 1400 rupees. So we have to convert that 6% and 10% to 3 months rate. See, the question will be like this. The concept is this. This is the spot market's price, spot, and we need to find out forward market's price. At the end of the 3 months, nothing is written right in this question. So dividend will be assumed to be paid at the end of the 3 months. Interest will also be assumed to be paid at the end of the 3 months. So whatever you will add rate, interest, borrowing cost, and deduct yield in this case. So whatever is the net outflow at this point will become the theoretical futures price. What is going to be the formula? F is equal to S into e to the power R minus Y and then T. Isn't it? The simple formula was S into e to the power RT, but we have to adjust the yield also, na? So we are going to deduct it. Rate of interest is something that we have to pay, and yield is something that we receive, and that's why we are deducting both of them. That's it. 400 into e to the power 3 by 12, that is the time, and rate of interest is 10%, 6% is the yield. This is per annum. This is per annum. Both of them are being calculated on 1400 rupees, which was just 3 months back figure, spot price. And then this is the formula. The answer is very simple now in this question. Let's move ahead. Come to question number 6 now. Interesting part. On 31st August 2011, the value of stock index was 2200. See, this is not a futures price. This is the spot price of the index. In this question, it's the index. Have a look. In this question also, it was the index. Okay. In the previous question, it was the stock. It was stock forward. In this case also it was stock, and the previous question also it was stock. So for the question number 2, 3 and 4, we discussed about the forward or futures contract on stock, that was equity forward. Okay, now in the 5th and the 6th question we are discussing about the index future, index forward, etc. Okay, so spot price is 2200, rate of return is 8% simply per annum. The dividend yield, understand it is given as yield again, on the stock index is given for every month but on per annum basis. Cool. And right now 31st August 2011 is there. 31st August is over. That means we are going to start with the September part. We are right now at this point. Okay. Now assuming that interest is continuously compounded daily, so e to the power RT will be the formula. Find out the futures price F of the contract deliverable on 31st December from this point to December end. So first, second, third, fourth. It means 4 months forward contract. So basically, if the contract is for 4 months, we have to take the 4 months dividend yield 1, 2, 3, 4. But all of them are on per annum basis. So what are you going to do? Till the previous question we discussed about the dividend yield, but we never discussed about the multiple dividend yields. We never discussed about the multiple dividend yields per month's dividend yield in per annum. So what are you going to do? It's very simple, sir. We need only one figure to deduct from R minus Y, right? In place of Y, we need only single figure. We cannot deduct 4 figures at a time. So the only thing that we are going to do is 3 plus 3 plus 4 plus 3 divided by 4. That is called as average yield per annum. First of all, you are standing at the end of the August. That means the previous dividend yield does not matter to you. This is not declared by the company. Yield is not declared by the company. Rate or amount is given by the company. So this is not for you. The only applicable dividend will be for you is this period's dividend. September, October, November, December. And all of them are given on per annum basis. We have invested only for 4 months. Return is only calculated for the holding period. So 3343, total them, take the average out of them. You will get an average 3 plus 3 plus 4 plus 3, average dividend yield of 3.25%. And that's it. Now the question is very simple. Spot price is 2200, rate of interest is 8%, dividend yield is 3.25%. This is per annum, this is again per annum. What are you going to do? S is equal to e to the power R minus Y into T. Okay, so E is F is equal to S into e to the power R minus Y T. Spot price 2200, e to the power rate of interest 0.08 minus, understand, 0.0325. Now into time 4 by 12, because you have to calculate a forward contracts rate for 4 months. So you are going to take all the calculation for 4 months. Understood the logic of this? Have a look. Average dividend yield 3.25%. This is nothing but R minus Y. See, R 8%, Y 3.25% yield into 4 by 12. Simple. Rest of the calculation is yours. So what did we learn from question number 5 to 6? In question number 5, there was only single dividend yield. In this question, there was a dividend yield, but multiple dividend yield. So let me write down the concept here. What happens if we have to take the multiple dividend yield? Got it? Let's move ahead. It's pretty easy, right? Question number 7. Now we are going to slowly we are going to add complexities in the question, because this is a derivative chapter and you need to learn with every step. Suppose that there is a future contract on share presently trading at 1000 rupees. Okay. Understand. There is a future contract, but the share right now is presently trading at 1000 rupees. Don't get confused with the fact that 1000 rupees is the futures price. It is not the futures price. There is a future contract available on a share, and that share is traded on the market at 1000 rupees. So 1000 is the share's spot price. The life of a future contract is 90 days. Now we are going to talk in terms of days, not months. And during this time, the company will pay dividend of 7.50 rupees in 30 days, 8.50 in 60 days, and 9 rupees in 90 days. There will be 3 dividends paid, and that to total amount, not in rate, not in yield. Assuming that the continuous compounded risk-free rate of interest is 12% per annum, you are required to find out fair value of the contract if no arbitrage opportunities exist. Underline the word no arbitrage opportunities exist and write down. Arbitrage opportunities does not exist when the actual market price is equal to the theoretical market price. When there is no difference in the price of a same asset in two different market. We'll talk about it later. In this question, just calculate the value of the contract and then we will find out the value of the cost to carry. We'll talk about it later, but let's first discuss about the futures contract. In this case, we are going to learn about multiple dividends in rupees, and that too before expiry. So we will have to calculate the present value. This is question number 7. Pretty easy. $30 days, 60 days. 0, 30, 60, 90. This is the cash market. This is the futures market. So forget about the futures market right now. Cash market. The spot price of a particular share is 1000 rupees in this case. Once you buy the share in this market, you can get the dividend of 7.5, 8.5 and 9. 7.5, 8.5 and 9. I will tell you what exactly you have to calculate is, see, when you buy the share, you pay this amount. This will be your cash outflow, but after that all the 3 are your cash inflows. So all the 3 amounts will get deducted from 1000 rupees, but you cannot do that. Why? Because the timing is different. So timing is different. So there are 2 options. Take all the figures to this point or take all the figures to this point and then the final figure to this point. What exactly we have to calculate? The purpose is to calculate the futures price, which will be given at this point at 0 time, but it is nothing but theoretically it is nothing but the cash outflow in the spot market at the end of 90 days. Okay, so the very first step that we are going to do is bring this dividend to the present value. Calculate the present value of the dividend. We are going to take the dividends back to their 0th value. You understand this? So this is going to be discounted by 1 month, 7.5, 8.5 will be discounted by 2 months, and logically speaking you don't have to discount the third one, 9, but still let's take it and let's do the same treatment for all the dividends. So 1 month, 2 month and 3 month. Anyhow we need a cash outflow at this point of time, so we can deduct directly 9 rupees. We don't have to calculate the present value of this. But I think the question has done it. So let's first do it and then I will show you how we can do that. Okay. And that too, this is not a simple present value. This is a continuously compounded question. So we have to calculate it with the value of E, not simple present value. Now the rate of interest given to you in the question is 12% per annum. That makes the question easy because for every 1 month, the rate is 1%. Now what is going to happen? I will tell you. What will be your discounting factor? Sir, it's very simple. 7.5 will be discounted by 1 divided by e to the power 0.01. 1% for 1 month. 1% for 1 month. So e to the power 0.01, because we have to discount it by 1 month only. This is nothing but 1 divided by e to the power 0.02. This is nothing but 1 divided by e to the power 0.03. Okay. You can write this 1 divided by e to the power 0.01 as e to the power minus 0.01 also. So the answer to this or the answer to this will be same. Answer to this or e to the power minus 0.02 will be same. Answer to this or e to the power minus 0.03 will be same. Okay. So let's first calculate the present values. Have a look. You can clearly see e to the power minus 0.01 is given to us. If it is minus, then straight away multiply. If it is positive, then write it 1 divided by. See, I will tell you. You can do it like this. 7.50 multiplied by e to the power minus 0.01 or 7.50 into e to the power 1 divided by e to the power 0.01. So if it is positive, take it in the denominator. If it is negative, directly multiply it. If you want to calculate the present value, the answer from both should be the same. So in this case, you can see it is negative. Okay, negative. That means we are going to multiply 0.9905. So the present value factor is 0.9905. Let me just write down. Okay, let me just do it in a better way. We are going to multiply it with e to the power minus 0.01, or you can take e to the power, or you can take 1 divided by e to the power 0.01, and this is nothing but 0.9905. Short of space. .9905. Simple. All of them are one and the same thing. In this case also, you can multiply it with e to the power minus 0.02 or 1 divided by e to the power 0.02, or the value of e to the power minus 02 is this 0.9802. Okay, so let me just write down 0.98 0.9802. Okay. Now in this case, e to the power minus 0.03, or you can write down 1 divided by e to the power 0.03, or you can write down 0.97045, or the inverse of this as well, 0.97045. Understood? So the all in all, what you have to do is multiply 7.5 with this figure, 8.5 with this figure, 9 with this figure to get the present values. Let's write down 7.5 into 0.9905, 7.43. Then 8.5 into 0.9802 and 8.33. Figures are directly given in the question, and that's the easiest part. 8.73. So this is what you are going to receive. This is what you are going to receive after paying 1000 rupees for the stock. So what is the net amount? Let's find out the net amount now. 1000 rupees minus 7.43 minus 8.33 minus 8.73 comes to 975.51. Let me just do it once again. 1000 minus 7.43 minus 8.33 minus 8.73. That's 975.51. Now, this is the first process that has been completed, that we have discounted all the dividends, taken it to the 0th point, and now let's continue. Let's take this value to the end of the 3 months. What are you going to do? Multiply it with e to the power 0.03. 3 months, right? Yeah. It is not given in days, and that's why I have taken 0.01. See, they have given 0.01, 02, 030. So it is all in the months. 12 months, 12% rate into 30 by 360. 360 should be taken so that proper answer will be calculated. Why 360? Because you can see the direct values of 0.0123 is given to you. That is only possible when you take the days in 360, not 365. Okay, so we have to calculate the 90 days, that means 3 months rate, and that's it. E to the power 0.03 is nothing but 1.03045. This is, both of them are the inverse of each other. 1.0305 inverse is equal to this much, 1.03045. So multiplied by 1 point is equal to 1.03045, right? Let's do that. 975.51 into 1.03045, that's 1005.21. See, 1005.96, rounding out differences. This is your first answer of fair value of the contract. See, if there would have been number of shares in a one lot, we would have multiplied it, because they are not asking the price of the contract, they are asking the value of the contract, and value has to be calculated when you multiply the price with the number of shares. So this is just the price, not the value exactly. Okay, so did you understand? Have you understood the concept here? First of all, the second part is the formula, which is very easy. Just spot price into e to the power this particular dividend. You have to deduct all the dividends. Let me just check. Yeah, this is the present value of the dividend only, and that is deducted in one shot here itself. Okay, clear enough? Let's do the value of the value of the contract. Okay, now the question is asking you the value of the cost to carry. What does that mean? Cost to carry means very simple. The purpose was to have or own the share at the end of the 90 days. Okay, but you had to purchase the stock. If you do the transaction in the cash market, you have to purchase the stock at time 0. Okay, so basically speaking, you are unnecessarily holding the stock for the next 90 days. And the interest that you have to pay for the next 90 days becomes the cost to carry the stock from 0th point to 90 days. But yeah, in this period, when you are incurring some cost, you are also getting some dividend. That is the benefit. So the net cost to carry will be nothing but the interest that you are paying on 1000 rupees and the dividend that you are receiving meanwhile, considering all the time value of money. Understand the logic. The cost to carry is nothing but 5 rupees. 5 rupees 21 paisa. Because if you purchase the share at 0th time, it is costing you 1000 rupees, and at 90 days time, it is costing you in total 1005.21 rupees. So the cost to purchase it after 90 days is only 5 rupees, right? And this 5 rupees consists of two things, the interest and the dividend. Dividend gets reduced, deducted from the interest cost. Let me show you one thing. 1000 rupees multiplied by this figure 1.03045 goes to 1030.45, right? and then you received a dividend. Just make the total of these dividend 24.49 into 1.03045. You also take it to the 3 months end. So tell me one thing, 25.36. You paid 1000 rupees. This is cash outflow to you. So this is cash outflow to you. This 30 rupees is also a cash outflow to you as an interest cost for borrowing 1000 rupees 3 months back. And this is cash inflow to you. So all in all, the net cost to you to carry that 1000 rupees stock for the 90 days is 30 rupees of the outflow and 25 rupees of the inflow. So 30.45 minus 25.36 comes to 5.09 for me, and 5.21 here, and 5.96 here. That is all the rounding of differences. So this is the net cost to carry. I will call it as a net cost to carry. This net cost to carry includes cash outflow of interest less cash inflow of dividend. So basically they are asking you that instead of buying the share at the end of the 90 days, you bought it at the beginning. So how much did it cost you extra? It's very simple, sir. You bought it at 1000 and now you are paying 1005.21 from your pocket. So the net cost to you is only 5 rupees. Because at this point of time, it is costing you 1005.21 only in the spot market. That becomes the forward contract. So 5.25 is the cost to carry this box stock from 0th point to 90 days. Understood the logic? Okay. But that is the net cost to carry. The gross cost to carry is 30.45 rupees, the interest cost. But because that 30.45 is to be incurred in the same period you received a dividend of 25.36, which you would not have received if you would not have purchased for those 90 days. If you would not have purchased the stock at 0 point, you would not have received this much, you would not have paid this much. So if you are paying this much, you are also receiving this much. So net cost is only this much. Okay, sir. Let's come to question number 8 now. So now have a look on question number 8. A future contract is available on R Limited that pays an annual dividend of rupees 4. First of all, the dividend is included in this question, so we have to deduct it from the spot price. And it is given in terms of directly in terms of rupees, not in terms of percentage rate, not in terms of percentage yield. Okay. Whose stock is currently priced at 125. Now the stock is currently priced. That means this is the spot market's price for the share of R Limited. Each future contract calls for the delivery of 1000 shares to stock in 1 year. 1 year. Okay. The calculation is very simple. 1 year. Daily marking to market. This is what we are going to learn after 3 questions, 8, 9 and 10. I think so. The corporate treasury bill rate is 8%. Nothing is given in front of 8%. We are going to assume it as per annum. Given the above information, what should be the price of one future contract? So it's very simple. The price is going to be forward is equal to spot in bracket 1 plus R minus dividend. Am I right? First of all, I'm not calculating the present value of the dividend. Why? Because nothing is mentioned in the question about the timing of the dividend, and at that time we will assume that it will be given at the end of the expiry or at the end of the year. So the question is straightforward. 125 rupees. Today you are going to borrow in the spot market. See, the parallel world for this forward market is borrow 125 rupees in the bank, from the bank, buy the stock today at 8%. So the cash flow is 0. After 1 year, you are going to pay 8% interest on that and also going to receive 4 rupees of the dividend. So the net amount will be 125 plus interest minus dividend. No continuous compounded rate of return is given, so the calculation will be simple. So 131 comes the forward price at that time. See, it is going to be like this. 125, you are going to receive 4 rupees, pay how much? 125 into 8% interest comes to 10. Net amount is 6 rupees. So 125 plus 6, that is 131 you are going to pay from your pocket in order to settle everything and still own the share. Okay, and 131 into 1000 comes to 1,31,000, the price of the contract. This is called the value of the contract. See, this is the price of the futures or forward, and this is the price of the contract, or we can say the value of the contract. One contract is equal to 1000 shares. Clear enough? You can calculate it with this model, cost of carry model, or we can say we can write it as formula S in bracket 1 plus R minus dividend. So this is nothing but the same, 125. Okay. Now the second part is interesting. If the company's stock prices decreases by 6%, what will be the price of one futures contract? Which price they are talking about? They're talking about this one. If today the price is 125 and then immediately after an hour or half an hour or one day, immediately, okay, if it decreases by 6%, what will be what will be the price of the one futures contract? Obviously, the futures contract price will also get decreased, because what happens is, this is the spot market, this is the forward market. In the forward market, the price came to 131, which was dependent on the spot market's price. Now, understand the logic. When the price was 125, your forward's price was 131. And if this is going to decrease, this is automatically going to decrease by 6%. No, sir, it's not going to decrease by 6%, because 4 rupees of the dividend is confirmed, whatever is the price. Understand? Okay. So what is going to happen? First, calculate the new stock price. Calculate the new stock price, 125 less 6%. Okay. That is going to be the new price at this point. Let me just do it once again. In this case, the new stock price will be 117.50. So there is no need to borrow 125 rupees now, obviously. So how much you are going to borrow today? 117.5. So interest of 8% will only be paid on this much of the amount. Interest amount will also get reduced by 6%. So multiply it by 8%. So 9.4 rupees of the interest you are going to pay at the end of the year, 4 rupees of the dividend you are going to receive. The dividend amount will not get reduced, and the net amount will be, and you are going to repay the principal as well, 117.5. The net amount is 122.90. This is going to be the forward price in the derivatives market, because that is the cash outflow in the spot market for the same purpose, for the same position. Understood the logic? See, 122.9. Understand, there are three things in this formula, in this logic: the spot price, the interest on the spot price, and the dividend. If the market price is decreasing by 6%, we cannot say that the futures will decrease by 6%, because every item in this three categories is not decreasing by 6%. This is decreasing by 6%. This will also decrease by 6% subsequently, because we are borrowing the same amount, but this is not going to change. Dividend will still remain 4 rupees. I told you. So obviously the net price will not change by 6%. It will be lesser than 6%. Okay, got this? Now, as a result of the company's stock price decrease, will an investor that has a long position, what he did is he has a long position in the forward market when the forward was 131. Okay. In one futures contract realizes a gain or loss. What will happen to him? He purchased at 131 and now it is 122.90. Obviously there will be a loss to him, because he has a long position here, he will have a short position here if he wants to immediately close the position. So there will be a loss to him, which will be the difference between 131 and 122.90. 131 and 122.90, the difference between that is 8.1 rupees. loss to him, multiplied by 1000 shares, 8100 rupees of the loss. The question is pretty simple. Understand one more thing. Now the summary of this is very simple. This is the timeline. Okay, this is the 0th time, this is 1 year time. The spot price was 125. And what happened? You found that the shares forward is fairly valued in the market. You found the market price of the forward contract is 131 multiplied by 1000 shares. So you purchased, you took a long position in the forward market at 131 price. So the total contract value is 1,31,000 immediately. And that immediately is not given in the question, whether it is 1 minute, 10 minutes, an hour, 1 day, 2 day, how much. So let's take it as immediately. The price decreased by 6%. This price decreased by 6% and resulting into the new price of 120, how much? 117.5. Since the forward price is dependent on the spot price, if the spot price is decreasing, forward price will also decrease, which came down to 117.50 and 122.90 multiplied by 1000, that comes to 122,900. So your long position of 1,31,000 came down to 1,22,900. You can, if you want, close the position here by taking opposite contract, that is short. So you bought at 131, you are selling at 122.900. You can calculate the difference. That is a loss to you. Let's move on to the next question now. Mr. SG sold 5 4-month Nifty futures contract. Now, 5 contracts, or we can say lots. The expiry is 4 month of Nifty future, which is called as index future, on 1st February 2020 for 9 lakh rupees. Now understand, the total contract value, one contract value will be very simple, 9 lakh divided by 5. This is a reverse question. So the contract value of one forward contract or Nifty in futures is 1,80,000. 1,80,000 into 5, you have sold. See, you have a short position. That means if the prices goes down, you will have a profit. And if it goes up, you will have a loss. Why? I will tell you. You enter into a short position only when you assume that the market price is going to fall. You will sell it at the beginning, you will buy it at the end to result it into profit. So the position that you have taken clearly indicates that your expectation is that the index is going to fall, so that you can buy it at a lesser price. You had already sold at a particular price, and then you can gain the difference between these two. So you can have a profit only when your expectation comes true. But if it goes against your expectation and if the market prices goes up, you will end up losing money. Okay, let's talk about it. Now what happened is, this is like reverse calculation contract. I will just show you first here. Question number 9. One, two, three, four. So this is a spot price. I don't know what it is. This is a forward price. I don't know what it is. This is a lot size. When you multiply the forward price with the lot size, you get the one contract value. Okay, cool. But when you multiply it with the 5 contract value, you got the answer as 9 lakh rupees. So you have a short position of 9 lakh rupees in the index futures. Okay, we can easily calculate that 9 divided by 5 is 1,80,000 rupees. So the one value of the one contract of Nifty futures is 1,80,000 rupees. If we get to know how many indexes are there in one lot, we can easily calculate the forwards price. And if the question is totally reverse, is asking for a reverse calculation from the forward price, we can also calculate the spot price. Okay, let's go by step. Now, at the time of closing of trading on the last Thursday of May 2020, last Thursday. So this was a 4 months contract entered on February. So February, March, April, May. So this is the expiry. Index turns out to be 2100. See, they are not saying that the future of Nifty is turning out to be 2100. They are saying index is turning out at 2100. That means they are talking about this price, not the futures price. At expiry, the futures will also have some value. Spot will also have some value. At the beginning also, spot will have some value and the futures will have some value. Cool. They have only given us the information of the spot price. But you know one thing? Do you know one thing? At expiry, spot and futures price tend to converge, or we can say merge. Therefore, at expiry, spot will be equal to futures price. Understand? This will automatically become 2100 at expiry only. We have seen this convergence effect. In this time frame, before expiry, spot and futures prices will have some difference in both of them. But the closer you get to the expiry, the closer you get to the expiry, the shorter or the smallest will be the difference between the spot and futures. It gets smallest, it gets reduced, and at expiry both will be same theoretically. So the futures is 2100 at the end, spot is 2100 at the end. Okay. Now, and the contract multiplier is 75. The contract multiplier is 75. This is nothing but the lot size. With this, we can easily calculate what was the futures price at the beginning. 1,80,000 divided by 75, 2400 was the futures price at the beginning. Now, can we calculate the spot price at the start? Yes, sir. Let's see what the question is asking us now. Price of the one future contract on 1st Feb 2020. This is the answer. The price of the one future contract. And the price of the one futures is 2400. So either this will be the answer if you want to calculate the futures price. This is the answer if you want to calculate the entire contract's value. Let's see the question. See, price of the one futures contract 1,80,000. Are you clear with this? Second, approximate Nifty on 1st Feb. Approximate Nifty on 1st Feb 2020 if the price of the future contract on the same date was theoretically correct. It means theoretical market price is equal to actual market price, which was 2400. How did you calculate this 2400? Sir, actual market price is equal to 1,80,000 is the total value of one contract, or we can easily calculate it like this. Understand? One contract value is equal to futures price into lot size. Lot size is 75. Contract value is 1,80,000. You can easily calculate futures price, which comes to 2400. Now, please understand again. Approximate Nifty on 1st Feb 2020. Nifty means this spot price. They are not saying Nifty futures. There is a difference in saying Nifty and Nifty futures. Whenever they talk about the share, they will say share itself. Whenever they want to talk about the forward or futures on that stock, they will say stock future or R Limited's future or stock forward. So in this case, if they say Nifty futures, that means they are talking about 2400. And if they only say Nifty, that means they are talking about the spot price. We have to calculate this price. We can easily calculate. We have the forward price, right? We have to do the reverse calculation. The only thing that we need now is we have the forward price, we have the time of 4 months, we need the rate of interest. And if dividend is there, then that dividend amount. Have a look. Theoretically correct. On the same day, risk-free rate of interest and the dividend yield on index was 9% and 6% per annum respectively. Have a look. First answer 9 lakh by 5, 1,80,000. Second answer, first of all, price of futures $1,80,000 divided by 75, that is 2,400. Now futures is equal to S. What are you going to do? Is there any continuous compounding or something that is asked in this question? No, there is no such thing. So you can keep this calculation as simple as possible. S in bracket 1 plus R minus Y into time. Understand? S in bracket 1 plus 9% minus 6%. Am I right? 9% is the rate of interest, 6% is the yield, into 4 by 12, because this is a 4 months contract. Okay. And you sold it in the beginning. So 2,400 into S in bracket 1.03 into 4 by 12 comes to plus 0.01. So S is equal to 2,400 divided by 1.01, that's 2376.24. This is the spot price values on that date. Reverse calculation, simple. Let's do the calculation now. 2376.24. Simple calculation, no continuous compounding, because nothing is given in the question, right? Like that. So the second part is very clear to you, right? The second part is clear to you. Now comes the third part. The maximum contango and backwardation. It has a same, it is a technical word, and you need to understand what is contango and what is backwardation. And this is very simple. Have a look. See, contango and backwardation refers to the spot and the futures price. Let's first write down the spot price that we have calculated, that is 2376.24. Now look at the spot price of the Nifty today, which is 2376.24, and the futures price, which is 2,400. You can clearly see that the spot price is lesser than the futures price. That means in future we are expecting this stock to grow, right? So contango itself means contango itself means explains growth in futures. Backwardation, the word itself explains decline in future. Okay. What does that mean? It means that the forward will be greater than spot price. In contango, forward will be greater than spot price. Tomorrow's price of the same asset will be more than today's price. That is called as contango. But if today something is trading at 100 rupees and tomorrow's price, that is futures price, is 90 only, that means the market is going down, because today it is available at 100 and tomorrow if it goes to 90 rupees only, that means the market is going backwards. From 100 to 90, it's backwards. So in that case, we say that forward price is less than spot price. Simple. Do you understand this? So what happens is that contango and backwardation is calculated using a simple method called as basis. Basis is nothing but the difference between spot and the futures price. And understand, if the futures is greater than spot, if the futures is greater than spot, the answer to the basis will be negative. Just understand. Let's say, for example, futures is 2400 in our question, which is greater than 2376.24, right? And if you put it here, spot 2376.24 minus 2400, this will come to minus 23.76. This is the basis now is called as negative. Negative basis itself means the market is contango or growth in future. Simple logic. Growth in futures, see, growth in futures, simple. Futures is higher. But if, let's take this example, if the futures price is 2400 and let's say the spot price is 2500, in that case we will have a positive basis. Let's take this figure, 2500 minus 2400, the answer will be 100 difference. This is nothing but the positive answer, and the positive basis is called as the backwardation. And backwardation indicates the decline in future. So you have to understand this logic. Contango explains the growth in future. That means the future has to be higher than the spot price. And if it is higher, the basis will be negative because spot is placed in the first place. Spot minus future. Future, if it is higher, the basis will be negative. Negative basis means contango, which explains the growth. Now it is very important to pay careful attention in this case because there is something which this concept is playing with our mind. Why? I will tell you. Negative basis or minus answer indicates bad thing on this one side, but ultimately it is resulting into growth, which is a positive factor, right? Which is a good factor. Negative sign or a negative basis is a bad factor, but in this concept it represents growth, which is good. And positive basis, which is a good sign, positive is a good sign, indicates good things, but it is actually decline and backwardation. So you need to be very careful in this concept because this concept is playing with our mind. Okay, now the question says the maximum contango and the backwardation. See, first of all, you need to understand that we have to calculate the basis. This basis is nothing but the spot price minus the futures price at any point of time. Today, the basis is negative by 23 rupees 76 paisa, almost 24, right? If basis is, see, understand, if basis is negative, the market is said to be contango. When it is positive, it is said to be backwardation. In this case, the basis is negative, we will call it as a contango, and the maximum contango is nothing but 24. So contango and backwardation explains the growth and the decline. Contango explains the growth in the future. Backwardation explains the decline in the futures. Okay. So backwardation concept is very clear. Both of them are talking about the futures price, not today's price. Okay. The last, the payoff of the transaction. Payoff means if we close this transaction, square off, or close this transaction, or we can say settle this transaction, what is going to happen? It's very simple, sir. I will tell you. Let's talk about the future. We are going to settle this transaction. Now, how to do that? It's very simple, sir. You had a short position when the futures price was 2400 and you have to take a long position at expiry. Even if you don't take this position at expiry, it will automatically become a long position because you had an opposite position in the beginning. And you can clearly see you have a 300 rupees of the profit. 300 rupees of the profit on one futures. See how much is the profit now? 300 rupees is the profit. Multiplied by the lot size. So this is the profit on one contract, 22,500. In total you had 5 contracts, so multiplied by 5, 112,500 total profit. Got it? Have a look. Five into 75 is 375. Okay, let's come to the question number 10, and this is easy question, not that difficult. The only thing is we have to take the power of e. And one more thing that we are going to learn in this question, which is I think little wrong in the institute's answer, because this was asked in RTP May 2015. So institute needs to correct this question, the answer in this question. Have a look. Mr. X is a senior portfolio manager at ABC Asset Management Company. He expects to purchase a portfolio of shares in 90 days. He expects to purchase in 90 days. However, he is worried about the expected price increase in shares in coming day. Obviously, he does not want to buy the portfolio today. He wants to buy the portfolio after 90 days, but he's worried about the increase in the prices. He don't want to pay higher amount by the time he goes to buy the shares. Okay. And he wants to hedge against this potential price increase. He decides to take a position on 90-day forward contract on the index. And it's very simple, sir. You want to take a long position in the portfolio, right? After 90 days you want to buy the portfolio. Simple. And in order to hedge this situation, you have to take a position in the index futures. What position you will take, long or short? It's very simple, sir. If the portfolio beta is positive, take the short position, opposite. If the portfolio beta is negative, take the same position. Have a look. The index is currently, index, not the index future, they are talking about the spot price, is currently trading at 2290. Assuming that the continuously compounded dividend yield is 1.75% and the risk-free rate is 4.16%, you are required to calculate the justified forward price on this contract. Forward price. First of all, let's frankly calculate this price. We'll talk about the hedging later on. Okay. Spot price on the index. So we want to create a portfolio. Spot price, and this is related to index 2290, and the futures price is what we have to calculate. Futures is very simple, sir. S in bracket e to the power r minus yt. See, ye to the power has been taken. Question clearly mentions the continuous compounded rate of return, and it has also given the values of e at the end. They have asked us to calculate, to take 365 days in a year. So the question is very much clear that you have to take E in the formula. Next, it has been given that the rate of interest, it has been clearly given that we have rate of interest in the question and the dividend yield as well. Yield. So that's why yield is taken. Now, 2290 into e to the power, let's say r, rate of interest is how much? Rate of interest is 4.16 and 1.75. So 0.0416, 0.0175 into 90 days divided by 365. The interest is to be paid at the end of the 90 days. The rate is to be paid at the end of the 90 days. So both are same. 2290 into e to the power. See, 0.005784, and the value of that is, am I right? 90 by 365. 0.0416 minus 0.0175. 0.0416 and 0.0175 into 90 by 365. 0.00594. Sorry. 0.00592. Have a look. This is 0.005942 already given in the question. 0.005942, that is 1.005960. 2290 into 1.005960. So your futures price comes down to 2303.65. Are you okay with this? Have a look. 2303.65. I'm just going to write it down. 2303.65. This is the answer to the first part, where they are asking that if the index in the market is trading at 2290, what will be the futures price on that index? Now, be very clear about one fact. If you are calculating a future on index, then in the formula of that, you need a spot price of that index, not something else. The question might give you a stock price of 4 or 5 securities, and you will get confused about which stock price to be taken. It's very simple, sir. If you're calculating futures of index, take the spot price of index itself, nothing else. So we have this price available. Have a look once again in the question. What else is given? Okay. Suppose after 28 days of the purchase of the contract, the index value stands at 2450, then determine the gain or loss on the above long position. That means it is very clear that you have taken a long position on this price. And what happened is that after 28 days of the purchase of the contract, the index turns out to be 2450. See. After 28 days means somewhere near this date. Do you agree with this? And what happened? The index turned out to be 2450. So what are you going to do? You are going to short at this date. Calculate the difference between these two and you can calculate the profit. You are totally wrong in this case. Sir, why? What is wrong in this statement? 2450 is the price at this date. You can sell it. We will have a gain. We will obviously have a gain, but this gain is it's totally wrong, because this is not the futures price. Please read the question carefully, and this is what the students are going to do in the question. They will be in so much of the pressure of the time that they will forget to understand that this is just the index's value, not the index's futures value. So this 2450 stands at this place, my friend. What the question is doing is, after 28 days, they are saying that the spot price of the index turns out to be 2450, and what will happen to the long position that you have taken in the futures after 28 days. It's very simple, sir. You have to calculate the futures price again. If the spot is changing, the futures will also change. And at this new price, you are going to settle the previous contract. If you are buying futures, please be very careful and very clear about one thing. If you are buying the futures, you will sell the futures. If you are buying Mercedes, you are going to sell the Mercedes to calculate the profit. See, you buy the Mercedes and you sell some Hero Honda bike or a Honda car. That is not going to give you profit. Both the items are different. The spot price of the index and the futures of the index. If you want to calculate the profit or loss, buy something and sell the same thing. In this question, it is very clear that the 2450 is the index's value, which will be considered as the spot price. You calculate the futures price again and then find out the profit or loss. It is very clear that you are going to go short on this date's future price. Okay. Now, another mistake that will happen after 28 days. S in bracket e to the power r minus yt. 2450 is the new price, e to the power 0.0416 minus 0.0175 dividend yield divided by 28 divided by 365. Am I right in this question? Because 28 days is over now, so we should take 28 days here. Totally wrong. And that's what is given in the question, which is also wrong. I will tell you why. See, You should understand the meaning of this T in the formula. This T represents how many days are left. Till expiry. So when we were standing at time 0, 90 days were left till expiry. That's why we took the 90 days. After 28 days, we will have to look forward that how many days are now left. 90 minus 28 days are left for the expiry. So 28 is the wrong answer here. If you take 28 just because 28 days are over, how many days are over at this date? At 0.0. How many days are over at this date? 0. So what are you going to take in this case? 0? No. When you are at 0 point, do you take 0? No. So then when you are at 28 days point, why are you taking 28 days? This is totally wrong. At any point of time, the balance expiry is looked forward. Just a second. The balance days left till the expiry is taken in the time. So 28 is totally wrong. Take 90 minus 28, which is nothing but 62. Okay, so 2450 into 0.0416 minus 0.0175 into 62 divided by 365 e to the power 0.00409. Okay. Now, do we have a calculation of e to the power 0.00409? No, sir. This is calculated based on 28 by 365, which is totally wrong. The answer in the question is also, see, answer is right because we have taken 62. I have changed the answer. I have changed the answer myself. Otherwise, the answer was 28 days in that case. So the answer is totally correct. The value given at the end for E is totally wrong. So we have to calculate it by our own mean. This can happen with you also. So you should know how to calculate the value of E. 2.7183 12 times square root minus 1 multiplied by 0.00409 plus 1 into equal to 12 times. Okay, you have to do that. 2.7183. One 1.0040410 itself, and the answer is 24. Just a second. And the answer is 2460.05. Simple. So have a look. The answer actually here is 2460.05. You are buying at 2303. You will be selling at 2460. There will be a profit. Have a look. You had a long position here. You will take a short position here if you want to close it. Otherwise, keep it. So the selling at this price, buying at this price will give you a profit of 156.40 on each share, multiplied by the lot size, multiplied by the number of lots, and you will have a total profit. Okay, so this is the question. Please understand the meaning. This is what I wanted to teach you in this question, that the T in the formula does not mean at which date we are standing. It means that how many days are left till expiry. So we are done with this part, and now if at expiration of 90 days, the index value turns out to be 2470, what will be the gain on the long position? See how the question is asking you smartly. They are giving the value of the spot market and asking the profit in the futures market. Do you even realize this thing? Have a look. So now they are saying that, let's change the color, 2470. Am I right? 2470 is the spot price on that date. Okay. So what is the profit on your long position. It's very simple, sir. If you have a long in the futures market, you will have to take a short in the futures market as well. But one good thing here which can reduce the calculation is at expiry, spot is equal to the futures price. So now you can take the futures price equal to 2470. That does not mean that this 2470 is the futures price. No, sir. The given value is the spot price itself. Let me just prove that to you. At expiry, you can solve this question by two methods. You can either calculate f is equal to s in bracket e to the s into e to the power r minus y t, or you can keep it as f is equal to s simply. I will just show you. In this case, f will be 2470, where you will be shorting. You had a long position at 23, how much? 2303.65. You had a long position 2303.65, and the profit will be 166.35 gain. This is the simplest of the answer at expiry, only at expiry. But even if you do not believe this, that this can happen on expiry, just try to calculate the answer. Spot price. What is the spot price on expiry of the index? 2470 into e to the power 0.0416 minus, have a look. I will just transfer this entire part on this side so that I get a space. 0.0175. How many days are left till expiry? T means what? Days left till expiry. We are already at the expiry. That means the days left till expiry is 0 divided by 365. The moment you multiply anything by the 0, the entire answer will be 0. Now the equation will look like this: 2470 e to the power 0. Do you know the derivation of this e to the power 0? 2470 into 1, 2470. So you go with the formula or you go with the logic of convergence effect, you will get the same answer. 2303.65. You will go short at that price. You had a long position at that price. You will have a gain of 166.35. So through both ways, you will get a same answer. Do you get that? Okay, let's move on to the next question now. I think we should take a break. Why? I will tell you. We have completed around 10 questions where we have been calculating the price of the forward contract. Now we are going to shift to the new concept which is called as the margin, mark to market and margin. Have a look. So we'll just shift for some time and we will be back with the forward calculation again. See, from question number 11, we will be talking about the initial margin and mark to market, initial margin, mark to market, initial margin, mark to market, initial margin, mark to market, open interest, open interest, open interest. So I think till question number 19, we are going to discuss about this initial margin, mark to market thing itself. And out of these questions, we are going to skip some questions which are based on the options contract, which includes call and put. We will just postpone those questions and then we'll be back with those questions once we start discussion of the options contract after a couple of lectures. See you for now. So welcome back. In this new lecture, we are going to start with the margin and mark to market concept. So this is going to be something new that we will be learning in this lecture. Now, most of the part we will be focusing on futures contract in this lecture. Futures contract for the next 10 questions at least. We will be discussing more about the futures contract which is traded on the stock exchange. And we will understand the procedure of exactly what happens when it comes to initial margin deposit and the mark to market process. Okay, so this is a question in front of you. Let's read the question and then we'll shift to the discussion part. Sensex futures. The first word itself is the Sensex. That means we are talking about index futures. The asset under this futures contract is index. Okay, it's not the stock or the commodity or the currency. It's index. Sensex are traded at a multiple of 50. 50 is nothing but a lot size. In one contract, you have to purchase or you have to buy or sell minimum of 50 Sensex futures. Okay, so let's start noting down. This is index, this is lot size. Consider the following quotations of Sensex futures in the 10 trading days during February 2009. So 10 trading days. On 4th of February 2009, the highest that the Sensex went was 3306.4. Lowest it went on that day is 3209, and it closed at 3296.50. So this was all the days analysis for the 4th of February. And in this manner, from 4th of February to 18th of the February, everything is given. You can understand that there will be certain gaps. Let's say 4, 5, 6, 7, and then you can say 8 and 9 is missing from this. Probably we will consider 8 and 9 will be the Saturday and Sunday. That's why the market is closed, and that's why there is no information regarding that. Next, it started on 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th. We can say there might be some public holiday or something. That's why there was no trading on that day. That happened. Then 14th, 15th and 16th will be Saturday and Sunday. Again, 17th and 18th. So what we have taken is not the 10 days in straight. We have taken 10 trading days. Okay, that's good. The highest the Sensex futures went on that day, lowest, and the closing was given here. Now, let's talk about a trader who is going to trade in this Sensex futures. Abhishek is his name. Bought means he is long on one Sensex futures contract. It's a contract. That means he has bought around 50 Sensex futures on February 04. Okay, so this is the first day of his trading, and he bought it on the 4th of the February. At which price it is not given to us in the question. When something is not specified in the question, what we are going to consider is we have purchased it at the closing price. 3296.50 will be relevant for us. In the entire question, the highest and the lowest price is not at all relevant. Only the closing will be relevant. Okay. Now, the average daily absolute change, average daily absolute change in the value. Absolute means it can go up and down as well. If I'm saying it will like if I will say see, if I say that it is changing by 2000 rupees, that means it can go up and down as well. So that's why they are saying absolute. That means they have removed all the negative signs. Change in the value of the contract is 10,000 rupees. So what is the value of the contract on the very first day? 3296.50 for one future multiplied by 50 for the one contract. So this is going to be 164,825. This is the value of one contract on the very first day of the trading for Abhishek. Now it is given that this contract value can change in a day. This is daily change, right? So in one day, it can go up by 10,000 rupees or down by 10,000 rupees. And standard deviation of these changes is 2,000 rupees. It means that this absolute change can also change. First of all, this absolute change is changing the Sensex futures, but the standard deviation is changing the absolute change itself. So the daily change, the absolute daily change can also go up and down by 2,000 rupees. See, I'm saying that 164,825 can go up by 10,000 rupees and can go down by 10,000 rupees. But standard deviation is something which is changing the absolute change itself. So your change can be 12,000 or 8,000 as well. This change can be 12,000 or 8,000. So for 2,000, add 2,000 in this, deduct 2,000 in this. So it can be it is like this. Okay, but you don't have to worry about all these figures because we are not going to use that much. Now the maintenance margin is 75% of the initial margin. Whatever is going to be the initial margin, 75% of that will be called as the maintenance margin. I will explain this topic to you. You are required to determine the daily balances in the margin account and payment on margin call, if any. Now please understand what happens in real life. Now understand the procedure. Okay. let's say there is a water tank situated at the top of your house, and it is like this. Okay, cool. And this is a pipeline going into the house. This is a pipeline going into the tank from, like, this is a motor. When you start the motor, the water starts flowing into the tank, and when you use the water starts flowing out of the tank from this part. Okay, now what happens is that on a daily basis you will start the motor, and you start filling up the tank, and you will stop once you realize that the water level is, or water is flowing out of the tank. Am I right? So this is the level. This is the level where you will stop the motor. Then you will start using the water throughout the day, and it might happen that on any specific day, if you have used a lot of water, or if there is some kind of a loss, you can say. So if you have used more water, more than required water, the level will come down to this part. Let's say if the level comes down to this particular point, you will stop getting the water in your taps, right? Am I right? And what is going to be the next action? Obviously you will go and start the motor so that water starts flowing again in the tank, and you will start filling up the tank through this process. And again, I will tell you, the moment you start the motor, the water will start flowing into the tank, and this water level will start increasing, and this is slowly it is going to increase. Now tell me one thing. If the water level is at this point of time, at this point, okay, are you going to turn off the motor? Will you turn off the motor? Because the purpose is solved. Now you have started getting the water in the taps, because the water level is at this point. Will you turn off the motor? No, you will not do that. Why? Because the gap is the difference in not getting the water and getting the water is very small. What will happen is that in an hour of using the water, the level will again go down to this point, and again you will have to go to start the motor. How many times a day you are going to do that? The water level comes to this point, you fill up to this point and turn off the motor. Then again it comes down to this point, you bring it to this point, turn off the motor. You cannot keep doing all this thing throughout the day. So the frequency of turning on and off the motor is very high at this point. So what is going to happen, once the water reaches to this level and you stop getting the water, you will start the motor, and you will make sure that the water level is again reached to a certain level. That is the moment when you start when you feel that the water is flowing out of the tank. Okay, understood this process? Okay, I will get back to that point. Now, first of all, in our example, what is going to happen when you take a position in the futures contract? The stock exchange is going to ask you for initial margin. This is the level of initial margin. This is how much initial margin you are going to pay. Okay, now understand the reason why this particular pipe is not situated exactly at the bottom of the tank. There is still a gap here. That means at any point of time, if we stop getting the water, still there will be some level of water, some quantity of water in the tank, and to that level, to this extent. Do you understand why? Because in case of emergency, you can take you can just open the tab, open the lid of this tank, and you can just put your bucket into that and take the water out in case of emergency. So this is where the emergency is standing, right? So this is called as the maintenance margin. This is the level. What is exactly the maintenance margin, sir? This point is the maintenance margin. Means at any cost you will not let the water to go below this level. The moment it comes to this level, you will see, understand the last sentence. The moment you realize that the water has come to this level, you will start the motor and you will make sure that the water has gone up to the initial margin level. So maintenance margin is there for the safety or for the emergency, below which you cannot let the water go down, because it will hit, if once the water level hits this point, you will stop getting the water in your taps, you will start the motor automatically and you will make sure that it is filled up again at this level. So in this question also, we will first deposit the initial margin of this much of the amount. Okay, then we will calculate 75% of this as the maintenance margin. That means 75% of this will have to be maintained in your deposit account at any point of time. The moment your maintenance margin level goes down, like your deposit account balance goes down, go down or go below this maintenance margin, you will be getting a call from the broker to deposit the money and so much of the money in your margin account so that it gets leveled to the initial margin again. See, now this is called as the maintenance margin. Maintenance margin is for the safer side and initial margin is the initial amount that is required to start the transaction. Okay. Now initial margin is being calculated by the stock exchange based on the risk of a particular index or a security or asset. And that is calculated using a system called as span. In reality, the span system is used and then you get a percentage which is applied on the contract value and that becomes the initial margin. Okay, but in this question and in our syllabus there is a specific formula that we are going to use. You will have to remember this formula, but practicality of this formula is nothing. So this is what we are going to call subjectivity. Okay, understand the formula of initial margin in our syllabus, that is nothing but mu plus 3 into standard deviation. First of all, mu is nothing but the daily absolute change. See, why the initial margin is being deposited by the future buyer or seller? This is because the exchange wants to make sure that if there is any loss in a particular transaction, then this can be recovered from the initial margin. So basically the amount of initial margin will be nothing but the maximum loss that is possible in that particular contract. So maximum loss will be nothing but the changes that will happen in the daily prices. So that's why we are sticking to this point. Daily absolute change, that means 10,000 rupees, it can go down. Again, standard deviation of those changes is 2000 rupees. And on a safer side, we are assuming that 3 times. Let's take the 3 times of the standard deviation. If 2000 is something which is expected to change, let's take the 3 times. 3 means the risk. It represents the risk. If the number is 1, that means the risk is less. If the number is high, that means the risk is high. Okay. So this becomes your initial margin formula. You will have to mug it up. Subjective. It is not used in the practical life. Span system is used in the practical life. There will be multiple of probabilities and calculation when the initial margin is calculated in real life. Okay. So for the syllabus, you are going to remember this formula, mu plus 3 into standard deviation. 3 is also subjective. It depends upon the risk. If any question is asked in the exam on this particular topic, you have to use the same formula. You cannot use 2 or 1. There only if a question specifies that the multiplier should be 2, then you should use mu plus 2 standard deviation. Otherwise stick to this formula of mu plus 3 standard deviation. Okay, so the initial margin will be like this: 10,000 rupees, that is the change, daily change in the particular contract, plus 6,000, 2,000 into 3, that means the total loss that is estimated by the exchange in this contract is 16,000 rupees. So what the exchange has done is they have asked the trader to deposit 16,000 rupees and then you can open a position in the futures contract. Now what has happened is that 16,000 is the initial margin level, but 75% of that has been kept by the exchange as maintenance margin. So at any point of time, if your margin account goes below 12,000, then you will get a call from the broker. You will get a call from the broker to deposit more balance. Why? Because stock exchange or the broker will not take the responsibility of your loss. So they will make sure that the balance is sufficient enough at every point of time, and they are going to call for the amount which will make your margin account again at the level of 16,000. And the reason is very simple, sir. When you start the motor at this point of time, you do not stop at this point, this point, this point, or this point. So you will again bring it back to the initial margin level, because anyhow this is all deposit. This is all deposit in a tank or deposit in your margin account. So even if you are paying more, you will get it back, right? Okay, so let's start with the question. I will just give you a couple of hints, then I will go to the answer directly. So let's take the day, closing price, change, margin account, and call money if any. This call money feature will get activated only if the margin account balance goes below 12,000 rupees. Have you understood this logic? That the 16,000 is initial margin and 75% of that has to be maintained in the margin account at any point of time. So let's take the first date, which is 4th of the February. On 4th of the February, the closing balance was 3296.50. 3296.50. So what will be the contract value at that time? We'll say basically this, there is no change in this. So margin account balance will have 16,000. There is no call money. Let's take the second date, 5th of the February. Now what is going to happen? 3294.40. So this is the closing balance. Now understand, it was 3296.50 when you went long on this. Now it is 94. That means it has reduced. What is going to happen? How are you going to calculate the change? $3296.3294. This is the current value. 0.40 minus 3296.50. This was the yesterday's price. Now this is your loss. This is your loss on one future multiplied by 50. This is your total loss on one contract. 3294.40 minus 3296.50 into 50. So that's a loss of, one second, 3294.40 minus 3296.50 into 50. So that's a loss of 105 rupees. Am I right? What will happen? Obviously, on the very next day, if there is a loss of 105 rupees, the stock exchange will deduct that 105 from your account, and your margin account will look like this, 15,895. So the loss has been adjusted in your account. This process is called as mark to market. The very next day, the exchange has settled your account. Whatever was the loss, they have settled it in your margin account. You can close the position now and go to home with this much of the amount. Even if you have purchased the entire future contract for 3 months, you can close it immediately. This is called as marking to market process. The exchange has settled your contract on the next day's closing price. Even though if you have not closed your position, but still what is happening is this. Stock exchange will settle your position immediately. Now, let's say we go to the next day, 6th of the February, the closing price was 3230.40. 6th of February, 3230.40. What will happen? Stock exchange has already the exchange had already closed your position at this point. So for the next day, the opening will be this and the closing will be this to settle. So stock exchange will settle your contract at this rate, 3230 minus 3294.40 into 50. Why into 50? Because you have purchased one contract and that includes 50 futures. So now there is a loss of 3200, which will again get adjusted to your 15 margin account. So the balance will come down to 12,695. Okay, let's take the next date. And this is going to be continued for and on and on and on. Let's one more date now. 7th Feb 3212.30. 3212.30. So 3212.30 minus 3230.40 into 50. And you can understand there is a loss of 905 rupees. When this loss is adjusted in your margin account, immediately the exchange realizes that the balance has gone to 11,790, which is below 12,000 rupees. That means you have gone below maintenance margin. What will happen? Automatically you will get a call from the broker to deposit more money. If you want to see, that day's amount has been adjusted already. That day's loss has been already adjusted. If you want to go ahead for tomorrow as well, you will have to deposit some money and deposit it in such a manner that the balance again reaches to the same level of margin, initial margin, that is 16,000. So 16,000 minus this is going to be your call money. And your call money column will show 4210. Now this is how it is going to look like. The moment you go below the maintenance margin level, the balance amount has to be deposited, and the balance amount, so that the initial margin level gets to the margin account level gets to the initial margin level, that is 16,000, not the 12,000. You're not going to just fill up small amount again and going back again and start getting the call money every day. So you have to fill up your margin account to back to the initial margin level. So you will get a call in which you will be depositing 4210, and from the next day you can start entering into the like playing the game again. But what will happen if you do not deposit this 4210? Obviously stock exchange has already adjusted your loss, and what are they going to do? They will close your transaction. They will not allow you to trade further. Even if you are not closing, they will close your transaction and settle it, and they will give you back 11,790 rupees, and you can go home. All the losses has been adjusted. You paid 16,000 rupees. You will get 11,790, and you can go home. The losses are already adjusted. If you want to continue in this market, if you have some hopes in the market that okay, tomorrow and the day after tomorrow there will be some positive news, then first you have to deposit 4210 rupees. Make your margin account level to 16,000 again, and then you can start playing from tomorrow as well. Now I'm coming directly to the answer. See. So do you realize 4210 at this point of time? Now what happened the very next day? You took this risk and deposited 4210. The very next day, the closing price went in your favor. It went up 3267.50 minus the first day's closing price, the previous day's closing price, 3212.30. So now there is a profit of 2,760. The exchange will realize this profit and they will credit it in your margin account. Now again, your contract is settled till this point. If you want to go home, you can take 18,760 and you can go home. The very next day, there is a loss of 185, which is adjusted in your margin account, profit, and see the profit level has gone to 20,850 till this point. Okay. Now what happened on the 17th, that is on the Monday, 17th of the February, you saw a loss of 2,575. that is adjusted in your margin account, and on the last day, 18th of the February, there was a huge loss of 7,760. Now what happened? When you deduct 7,760 from 18,275, so then you realize that the balance, then the stock exchange realize that the balance has come down to 10,515. Obviously, you will again get a call and you have to deposit so much of the amount so that your margin account gets leveled up to the initial margin level. Okay, so how much amount you will have to deposit? 16,000 minus 10,515. 5485 is the amount of call money. So whenever the margin account balance goes below maintenance margin, you will get a call from the broker. You will have to deposit again in your margin account to bring it back to the initial margin level, which is 16,000. I told you the reason why we are not just going to fill it up to this level, because we don't want more calls from the broker. The broker is calling every minute, every day to deposit the money, because you are depositing it to this level only. So what you have to do is, when you have to deposit it, when you are obviously starting the motor, start it and keep it on until the water gets to this level, initial margin level. And the same thing is there. 16,000 should be the minimum balance. So this is your margin account, and this process, every day's settlement, is called marking to market. This process is called marking to market. So have you understood a couple of concepts? The first one was initial margin. This is the deposit amount which is required to open the transaction. Why initial margin is required? Because exchange will not take the risk of default. The party can default, any party can default. That's why initial margin is required. But this margin is also kept to a certain level, below which the exchange will not allow you to trade. So that will ultimately result into you getting a call to deposit more money in your margin account to bring it back to the initial margin level. That is called as maintenance margin, below which you will start getting a call. Apart from this process, this entire process is called as marking to market. It is basically it basically means every day your contract is being settled at the closing price, of that day. So we are marking your contract at the market price every day. That is called as marking to market. Obviously, whenever you will sell it, whenever you close the position from the next day, you will not get any marking to market process. But you can continue this process till the time of expiry. At the expiry, the transaction will get automatically closed. So this is what the question was. Now let's focus on question number 12. Now let's have a look at this question. On 3rd June 2011, future with series RIL 250. Now understand what is RIL. RIL is the name of the stock on which the futures is available. Okay. And 250 is the lot size. So one future contract on Reliance Industries Limited having a lot size of 250, expiring in the month of July. Understand, this is how it is presented. Is purchased by Mr. Avinash and sold by Mr. Mohit. One buyer, one seller. With an exercise price of 1,000 rupees. This is the price. Okay. So there is a buyer, there is a seller on both the end. If initial margin deposit is at 20% of the transaction, then show what will be the initial margin deposit. It's very simple, sir. 1,000 into 250 will be the total contract value. That will be 2,50,000, of which 20% will be the initial margin, that is 50,000 rupees. So are you okay with this first answer? 1,000 into 250, one contract value into 20%, that is 50,000. Now the next question. If the settlement price happens to be as follows, then calculate mark to market margin for buyer and seller of the future. Understand, when the price is going up, the buyer will have profit and the seller will have loss. But seller will have loss when the price will go up. But when the price will go down, the buyer will have a loss and the seller will have a profit. So it's very simple. The buyer's profit is when the prices are going up and the seller's profit is when the prices are going down. Okay, now understand. You started with 1000 rupees, on the very next day it went up to 1010. That means an increase in the 10 rupees. So the price went up, there will be a profit. Okay, let me just present it in a different manner. If the prices are going up or if the prices are going down, if it is going up, it will be a profit, gain for the buyer, loss for the seller. And if it is going down, loss for the buyer, gain for the seller. Now let's go on for the first transaction. It is 1010. That means the prices is going up, there will be a gain to the buyer for 10 rupees. 10 rupees into 250, that is 2500 rupees will get automatically added to the margin account of the buyer. That means it will become 52500, and the same amount of 2500 will get deducted from the seller's account on the other side. So how it is going to look like? See, 50,000 plus 2,500, 52,500. Now on the very next day, what is happening? Please understand, the dates are given like this: 6th June and then 7th June on this side. So what will happen on the very next day? From 1010 to 1050, there is a gain of 40 rupees. Can you get it? 40 rupees into 250. That's 10,000 rupees will gain again added in the deposit account. So he started with 50,000, 2005, add 2,500, again add 10,000. Now on 8th June, the price has reduced by 30 rupees from 1050 to 20. So that's 30 rupees of the negative into 250. That means 7,500 negative balance, the loss of 7,500. So let's come to this point. It is very easy to explain in this case. So you have added 10,000. Now the price has gone down by 30 rupees. So deduct 30 rupees for every future. Total of the 250 is the lot size. So 30 into 250 will become 7,500, which will be adjusted in the margin account. Now again on the very next day, it is going down by 40 rupees. 40 into 250, 10,000 rupees of the loss will be adjusted. So 55,000 of the total balance will become 45,000 here in this case. Okay, on the very next day, now the price is going up by 20 rupees. So 20 into 250, that means 5,000 rupees of the profit will be added in the margin account. On the very next day, it is going down by 30 rupees. So 30 into 250, 7,500, and your balance will be reduced by 7,500. So at the end of the last day, the total will match with the beginning. So you can clearly understand, when you started at 1,000 rupees of the price, you deposited 50,000 rupees. Now you are at 970. That means the total loss should be 30 rupees. From 1,000 to 970, the total loss is 30 rupees into 250. So the maximum loss that should be there is 7,500. So deduct 7,500 from 50,000 and you will have a balance of 40,500. But this is not going to happen in one shot. Every day your contract will get settled at the closing price and your margin account will get adjusted. So this is the gain and loss, and this is the balance in the margin account. Exactly opposite of this will be the seller's statement. See, you can clearly see that minus 2,500 minus 10,000. Here it was plus 2,500 and plus 10,000. Then in the buyer, it was minus 7,500 and minus 10,000. You can see that plus 7,500 and plus 10,000. So whatever was the profit of the buyer becomes the loss to the seller, and profit of the seller becomes the loss to the buyer. Ultimately, there is a, see, 50,000 was deposited by both the parties and the prices went from 1,000 to 970. That means there will be a 30 rupees loss to the buyer and 30 rupees profit to the seller, and that comes to 30 into 250, that is 7,500. So 7,500 will be deducted, not in one shot but on a daily basis. In total, it will be a deduction of 7,500 from the buyer's account, and the buyer will get back his money, 42,500, and the same kept on adding in the seller's account. And now the amount that he is going to take home, seller is going to take home, is 57,500. So this is how the profit and loss is adjusted in the margin account. Do you understand this logic? Now come over to this part. Question number 13. So this is an interesting part, as this is asked, this question has been asked in the exam as well. On 31st of August 2021, understand the date, Mr. R has taken a long position, so he has purchased, he is a buyer, of two lots of Nifty futures at 17,300. Now understand, one lot is of 50 units. So you do the calculation here, 17,300 for one, 50 units 50 units for one lot. This is one future. Now this is one lot, and in such way you have taken two lots. So 17,300 into 50 into 2 comes to 17,30,000. This is the contract value. So it says that you have purchased this much of the futures contract. So does that mean you have paid 17,30,000? No, sir. You might have paid only the margin of that much. Okay. Now, initial margin required is 10% of the contract value. So let's take the 10% of this. 10% of this is nothing but 1,73,000 rupees. So by paying 1,73,000 rupees as a deposit, you can start this position of 17,30,000. After that also, the maintenance margin which is required to be maintained at all point of time is 80%. Okay, this is initial margin. This is maintenance margin. %80, that comes to 1,38,400. So that means your margin account should not go below 138,400, and if at any point it is going below that, you will have to deposit once again. You will get a call money and you will start depositing the amount, so that the margin account will get again to the level of 1,73,000. So the top level should be achieved once you get a call money. Now, and it's very simple. The closing price of 5 days are given below. This is on the 1st of September. That means the very next day of you purchase the position in the futures. So 31st August was the first day for you. Now this is 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. So there are 5 days. Okay. You can clearly see that you started with 17,300 and you have a long position. If you are a buyer, that means you will gain when the market is going up and you will lose when the market is going down. In this case, you can see that there will be a profit here because you are going from 17,000 to 17,340. In this case, there will be a loss because you are going down. Again, there will be a loss. Again, there will be a loss, and there will be a profit. Okay. So let's start with the questions first. You are required to prepare a statement showing the daily balances in the margin account and payment of margin calls, if any. This is very easy. Let's first do this. It's very simple, sir. You started with 17,300. Now it's 340. That means a profit of 40 rupees. From 340 to 180, there will be a loss of 160 rupees. Again, 17,180 minus 16,990, there will be 17,180 minus 16,990, a loss of 190, then a loss of 90, and then the profit of 220. So what you are supposed to do? It's very simple, sir. 40 rupees of the profit on one futures multiplied by the total lot size, which is 50. So 40 into 50, 2,000 rupees is the profit on one contract, and this way you have two contracts. So the total profit will be 2,000 rupees, and this will get added to 1,73,000. Let me just check once again. 40 into 50, it's already 2,000 rupees into 2. So it becomes 4,000 rupees. So 4,000 profit will be added to your margin account, which is 1,73,000. It becomes 1,77,000. Are you okay with this? Now let's move ahead. Loss of 160. Loss of 160 into 50 into 2. You can just multiply it by 100 directly, but for the sake of better presentation, I am just keeping it like this. So 16,000 rupees will be adjusted. 1,77,000 minus 16,000 comes to 1,61,000. You will not get a margin call unless you go below this maintenance margin level of 138,400. Now, the very next day, there is a loss of 190 multiplied by 50 multiplied by 2. So 190 into 100, that's 19,000 rupees. And you can clearly see that now the balance is going. Okay, balance is still above the maintenance margin. So it is going to be 142. Now 90 into 50 into 2, that's 9,000 rupees minus 9,000 rupees loss. Now you can clearly see that there is a loss of 9,000 which brings down your margin account balance to 1,33,000. Now this has come down, down to 1,33,000, which is lesser than the maintenance margin. So you have gone below the maintenance margin level. What is going to happen? You will get a margin call so that you deposit more money in such a manner that your margin account gets a balance of total balance of your margin account gets to the total balance of the beginning, like the beginning balance, which was 1,73,000. So you have to deposit so much of the amount so that your margin account gets back to 1,73,000, which was the level of initial margin. Okay, now how much you have to deposit? 1,73,000 minus 1,33,000. 40,000 rupees is what you have to deposit more. So there will be a call money. There will be a call from the broker to deposit more money, and that comes to 40,000, which brings your margin account to 1,73,000. Now on the very next day, there will be a profit of 220 rupees on 50 multiplied by 2, that comes to 22,000 of the profit. Now this will be added to your margin account, which will bring your margin account balance to 1,95,000 rupees. That's it. This is the end. Your purpose is solved now. You can clearly see that your purpose is solved now. It says daily balance in the margin account. Daily balance in the margin account. This is a statement of the daily balance in the margin account, and this is the margin call, if any. Okay. Happy with this? Now let's come to the second part. Compute the gain or loss of Mr. R if the contract is squared on the 7th of September, means on this date. If we close the position, we are going to sell, and we will get the balance of 1,95,000 in our account, bank account. So what is going to happen? See, very clear. There are only 3 cash flows to you. This is the cash outflow, 1,73,000. This is the cash outflow, 40,000, and this is the cash inflow. Apart from this, there is no other cash flow to you. This was all happening in the statement. So if you do the calculation, it's very simple, sir. You paid 1,73,000, you paid 40,000, in total you paid 2,13,000, and you received 1,95,000 back. That means there is a loss of 18,000 rupees. So you received lesser amount than you paid, right? So there is a loss of 18,000 rupees, which you can cross check. It's very simple, sir. Have a look. You had a long position at 17,300 rupees, and then you squared it off at 17,120. See, so you had a buy position at 17,300, then you had a sell position at 17,120. So the loss is 180 rupees because you are selling at a lesser price. Multiplied by 50 multiplied by 2, that comes to 18,000. So if this is a loss, this is also a loss. So that's confirmed that there will be a loss of 18,000 rupees to the buyer of the contract. Now the third part is, what would be the gain or loss if Mr. R had taken short position? So it's very simple, sir. If you would have taken a short position in the very beginning itself, that means at this point, then you would have taken long position to square it off. This would have been your profit. The same would have been your gain, 18,000 rupees. Okay, so let's come to this point now. 18,000 net loss. This is not required. 18,000 profit. Obviously, there is no call money to Mr. R. Why there is no call money to Mr. R? It's very simple, sir. Because the value is never going below 1,38,000. What was that amount? The amount of margin account, margin balance. See, maintenance margin was 1,38,400, right? And you can see the margin account never went below 1,38,400. So there is no call money to Mr. R, and there is a profit to him of 18,000. Same. Okay, with this we finish this question and we are going to shift to the next question, that is question number 14, asked in January 21, new syllabus. Have a look. The price of March Nifty futures contract, March Nifty futures contract on a particular day was 9170. So this is going to be the expiry. This is going to be index future. And the price is 9170. The minimum trading lot on the Nifty futures is 50. This is a lot size. The initial margin is 8% and the maintenance margin is 6%. Okay. See. So can we do the calculation? Basic calculation. The futures price is 9170. Lot size is 50. So the price of one contract comes to 458,500. Initial margin is at 8%. That brings it down to 36,680. And the maintenance margin is 6% of the total, not the initial margin, it is of the total. So 458,500 into 6%, 27,510. So please understand the difference. In the previous question, the maintenance margin, let me just go back to this point. Maintenance margin was clearly mentioned that it is 80% of the initial margin, right? And in the previous question of that also, the maintenance margin was 75% of the initial margin. It was clearly mentioned. But in this question, they have not mentioned that the 6% is of initial margin or the total contract value. But this is a common sense that you will have to apply, that if someone is paying 36,680 as the initial margin, and let's say if someone is paying 36,680 as the initial margin, if you keep 6% of that only as the maintenance margin, then it's 2,200 only, which is very less and which is very risky for the exchange. So that 6% can never be of the initial margin unless and until something is specified. So what we are going to do, we are going to apply that 8% and 6% on the contract value. Okay, so we have to deposit 36,680 to start the position, to start the contract, and we have to maintain 27,510. Okay, cool. Now what is happening? The index closed at the following levels on the next 5 days. Have a look. Day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this is the settlement price. You started with 9,170. Understand? And you are a buyer. Are you a buyer or what? Okay. So there is no such information regarding whether we are buying it or selling it. If nothing is mentioned, then we are going to go according to a buyer. Otherwise, let's see. You are required to calculate mark-to-market cash flows and daily closing balances. It's very easy now. On account of an investor who has taken a long position at 9170, who has taken a short position at 9170. So it's very simple. You have to prepare two statements. And this is similar to the question that we have already discussed in the previous. And you have to show the balances. The last two accounts matters the most. Mark to market cash flows and daily closing balances on account. So you have to show that every day the transaction is getting closed at the current price, that is 9380, then 9520 and 9100. Please understand that if someone is taking a long position, that means if the market is going up, he will gain, otherwise he will lose. And if the market is going down and you have taken a short position, then only you are going to gain. So you started with 9170. Understand from the perspective of the buyer, here he will have gain because the market is going up, again up, gain, this is loss, and this is gain. And the exact opposite will happen to the seller. He will lose, gain, lose. And you can calculate the amount as well. Net profit or loss on each of the contracts. Have a look. This is very easy, very easy. See, are you okay with this? 27510, right? Yeah. Now let's start with this. So on the very first day there will be a gain, loss, gain. Okay, loss, gain, loss. It's very simple, exact opposite. Okay. And there is only one lot that has been considered. So I think this is nothing new. There is nothing new in this question, so I'm keeping it as an homework. Please understand that whenever the balance will go below 27510, you will have to deposit again in the margin account, and the deposit amount should be so much that your margin balance gets back to 36680. See, 36680. You have to think from the angle of the buyer and the seller. The net profit or loss to both of them will be same. If someone is having a loss, same amount will be a profit to the other party. Have a look. On a long position, am I right or wrong? Yeah. On a long position, ending margin, initial margin. Yeah. Like I showed you the two ways of calculation in the previous question, that we can calculate the profit or loss in two manners. Just give me a second. See, I showed you the profit or loss first by taking the cash flows, that I paid this, and then I received this. So that is a loss. Or you can calculate the 18,000 rupees again by this much, this process of pricing. In the similar way, they have done the calculation in this case. See, this is a cash flow calculation and this is the pricing calculation. See, from the long position point of view, you paid the initial margin of 36,680. That was an outflow first, and then you again paid a margin call of 10,500. So in total your investment was 47,180 and you received back 45,680. So that's a loss of 1,500 to you. So you can calculate it this way or this way also, that you started with 9170, you ended with 91440. Your buying price was 170 and your selling price was 140. So there is a loss of 30 rupees on each future and the total is 50. So 30 into 50, that means 1,500 rupees of the loss. Now if you will see on the other side, the same is the profit to the seller. He paid 36,680. He also paid the margin call in this case, and then he got back this much of the amount. So net profit to the seller and loss to the buyer. I hope you have understood this. Keep it for homework. No, not for homework. We'll postpone this. Why? Because this is based on option contract. So postpone it for the time being. The calculations are easy in that case, but still it is better to postpone it. Now come to question number 16, 17, 18. Yeah, all these three questions are pretty much same. So I'm going to take 16 and 18. 17 will be your homework. Have a look now. Question number 16. On 1st June spot price of RIL, understand the difference. This is the spot, 948. And RIL 250 June futures on NSE is being traded at 980. So if you do some calculation in this case, question number 16, and if you write it like this. So this is the spot price of Reliance Industries Limited. This is the futures price. 948. And this is 1 month itself. I will tell you how. I think, see, on 1st of the June the spot price is given to you and the futures is also given for the June expiry. That means the last Thursday of this month. 948 and 980. So Reliance Industries Limited. The stock price is trading at 948 and the futures is trading at 980. Right. What happens is that you should understand this. This is the price if you want to buy the share today itself, and this is the price if you want to play on the prices, or if you want to buy the share at the end of the month, last Thursday, 980. Okay. Now, client X buys 3 lots of this futures. So there is one client called as client X. He purchased 3 lots of this futures. Okay, on this date. The lot size is 250. You can clearly see here. So if you multiply 980 with 250, you will get a contract value. So one contract value is 2,45,000, and Mr. X purchased 3 such contracts into 3. So that's 7,35,000 is the contract value, and you have gone long on this. Okay. So Mr. X is a client who has purchased 3 lots of futures. Here the value date will be the last Thursday of June, 30th June 2011. That's fine. On 15th June 2011, that means after 15 days from this date, we started on 1st June. After 15 days, the closing spot price of RIL is 1012. Let's write down. In the middle of the month, we are right now here. So the closing spot price is 1015. We don't have to do much with this price. 1012. 1012 is the spot price at 15th June, and the futures price is 1005. Okay, good enough. And client X sells 1 lot of this future. Now what happened in this case? 250. See, I don't know why they have given the prices of spot market, because I don't think so this is useful in this case. But still, what all is happening is in the derivatives market. Mr. X purchased 3 lots of derivatives, this index futures, at 980, and now he has sold 1 lot at 1005. So 1005 into 250 comes to 2,51,250 into 1 lot, that's 2,51,250. Okay. If you want to calculate the gain or loss, you can easily calculate, because now at this point of time you only have 2 lots remaining with you. Out of these 3 lots, you have sold 1 lot. Understand? You purchased it at 980, you have sold it at 1005. So the difference is your profit. Okay. What will happen? That the difference will be settled in your margin account. Have a look now. On the value date, now we are talking about the closing date. On 30th June 2011, closing spot price of RIL was 974, and the open position is settled by client X. Have a look. 974. Yeah, just look at this price. Understand the logic. You purchased 3 lots at this date. At 980, out of which 1 lot has been sold by you on this date. So the remaining lots are only 2. 2 lots are still remaining, which have been sold by you on this date, on 30th June. So the remaining lot will be 0 now. Okay. And you sold these 2 lots at this price, the futures price, which is not given in the question. Now how to calculate this price? Because without this price, we will not be able to calculate the profit or loss. Now comes the logic that on expiry, the market will converge and the futures price will also be 974. And that's the major reason why they have not given the futures price of this date. They have given the futures price of this date and this date also. But at expiry, they have only given the spot price, and they asked you to apply this brain that due to the convergence effect, the futures price will also be 974. Now, what is the question asking us? First of all, show open interest for X. Open interest means this 2 lots and this 0 lot and the 3 lots at this point. At each point, the open position has to be shown. shown by us in the statement. So open interest is nothing but the open position. Right now we have three. The moment we buy 3 lots, we have 3 lots in the open interest. Here there are 2 lots in the open interest, and here there is nothing in the open interest. Everything is closed. And at expiry this happens. There is no open interest left at expiry, because whatever the open interest are on this date will get automatically settled at 974. If you buy it or sell it, if you square it or not, it will get automatically settled. So at expiry the open interest will always be 0. Okay sir, this is what the open interest is. And then they are showing profit or loss for X, and it's very simple sir. See, all the 3 lots have been purchased by you at 980 rupees. One of them was sold at 1005 and 2 of them was sold as 974. So it's very simple. 1005 minus 980 and 974 minus 980. So this is 25 rupees of the profit on 50. 50, right? 250. 25 into 250. The profit in this case is 6250, and there will be a loss in this case of 6 rupees into 250 into 2 lots. Because at expiry you sold 2 lots. The balance was 2 lots, na? 250 into 6 into 2. That's 3000 rupees of the loss. Have a look. Look at this. On 1st of the June you started with 948. This is not required that much, okay? The futures price was 980 at which you had gone long, okay? And that to 3 contracts. So that's why the open interest is 3 lot of long futures. And on the next day the price was 1005 at which you sold one of the contract, only one contract. And you can see that we have multiplied it by 1 only. The profit or loss should be calculated the moment you close a position. So we have closed the position for only one contract. That's why the profit or loss for one contract is only calculated at that point. Do not do it for the rest of the 2 contracts. The 2 lot of long futures are still in open interest, because that means open position. And on the last day, we sold all the 2 contracts at whatever the price was, and we incurred a loss. Open interest is 0. It will always be 0 at the end if it is expiry. Have you understood this concept? And have you understood this meaning, the convergence effect on expiry? Okay, this is the similar type of questions. This is a similar type of question. There are 4 dates instead of 3, and at expiry you understand that first of all spot price becomes the futures price. Okay, you have opened 6 lots, so open interest will be 6 in the beginning, out of which you sold 2 lots here, 3 lots here. That means 6 minus 5, and the 1 lot is being sold by you in this case. Open interest will be 0 at the end. Now this is going to be the most difficult part of, that is question number 18, and we are going to enjoy it. Let me just take a break of 5 minutes and I will be back with this question. There will be multiple parties, multiple open interest, and multiple things that we are going to learn in this question. So have a look on this question number 18. Welcome back after this break. So please pay careful attention to this, because there are 3 to 4 parties involved in this question, and you will get confused, you will get messed up by reading the entire question. So it should be very much clear to you from time to time. Okay. On 1st June 2011, client X takes a long position on 10 lot of, okay, this is related to call and put options. So this is again going to be postponed by us. I'm very much sorry. I thought it is related to something related to futures, but I did not see it here that it is related to the options contract. So well and good, we are going to take this question once we complete the discussion of the options contract. So let's now for the time being shift to the next question, that is question number 19, and this is very much interesting question as well. Have a look. Mr. V decides to sell short 10,000 share. This is not the question of forward or futures or options or swaps, but still I have taken this in the derivatives chapter because of some kind of a similarities. Okay, have a look. Now what is happening in this question is that this is a party who is selling short Means this party, Mr. V, does not own the share and still he is selling those share in the market at like this is 10,000 shares that he is selling of ABC PLC when it was selling at a yearly high of 5.60 pound. Now there is one concept of short selling. I have discussed this with you in the portfolio management chapter. What happens is that, let me just clear it to you. Owner of the share, broker, this is you, this is buyer. Now what happens is that you don't own the share, okay, you do not own the share and still you want to sell it to the buyer because of the likely expectation that the prices are going to fall. Now what happens is that the moment you give instruction as a short sell, your broker gets to know that you need to borrow it in the market now. So what happens is broker goes to the owner. This happens all virtually and nobody talks to anyone. So broker goes to the owner and owner lends his share to the broker. Broker gives it to you and you sell it to the buyer. So this particular share becomes the ownership of the buyer. Buyer buys the share in a normal course of action, but you sold it. That's your short sell position. That's where your short sell position gets created. Now what happens is that by the end of the day, in reality, by the end of the day, you will have to buy it back from the market, from another buyer. Now understand one thing. Practically speaking, only 1 day is allowed to keep this position open. Not even 1 day. You start the position on a particular day and you have to close it on the same day. So you cannot take this position as open position on the next day, right? This is what the short sell concept is. You cannot keep it for more than a day. But theoretically, in many questions, you will see that you can keep this position open for a day, 2 or a month or a 2, right? So theoretically, just assume that we can keep this position open for 2 months, let's say, for example. And in the meantime, what will happen? You sold the share to this buyer. So buyer is the legal owner of the share, but this person is also a legal owner of the share. Because he has not sold the share to you, he has just lent the share to you. Virtually speaking, there is only one share and there are two owners, this one also and the buyer also. Legally the buyer is the only owner, but virtually these two are the owners. Now what happens if in this time frame, in this 2 months of period, the company of this share declares a dividend? This person has the right to receive the dividend because he is the legal owner, and this person also demands the dividend on the same share because he is also the owner of the share. He has not sold it to you, he has just lent it to you. Now what will happen? Company will pay the dividend only to one person, and that is this buyer. At that time, that dividend, if by chance the dividend is being paid in that 2 months of time frame, it becomes your expense. You have to again pay the dividend from your pocket to the owner. Understand the logic clearly. Because virtually there are two owners and the company is paying the dividend only to the legal owner, that is that person, it's your responsibility to make sure you compensate the previous owner for the dividend paid by the company. Because if that person would not have lent you the share, or if you would not have borrowed that share from this owner, then the legal owner would have been this person and the dividend would have been received by him. And because of this borrowing scheme, lending and borrowing scheme, this person is not receiving the dividend now directly from the company. So you will be responsible to bear that expense. In that case, when you sell the share in short sell, dividend will be your expense. When you buy the share, dividend is your income. When you short sell the share, dividend will be your expense. So you will be compensating this owner. Understood the logic of the dividend? Now come to this question. Mr. V decides to sell short 10,000 shares of ABC PLC when it was selling at yearly high of 5.60. So you sold at this rate, 5.60 pound. Why you sold? Because you are expecting that the prices will go down. His broker requested him to deposit a margin requirement of 45% and commission of 1550. That is the pure expense. Commission is the pure expense. This is the deposit. How to calculate the margin? It's very simple. 5.60 multiplied by 10,000 into 45%. Let me just calculate. 5.60 multiplied by 10,000 becomes 56,000 pound. That is the total contract value. Okay. But on that 45% will be the margin requirement. So margin requirement is 25,200, which you will be paying. But that is just a deposit, but also a cash outflow. See, I will tell you. And 1550 is also your cash outflow. So from the cash outflow point of view, both of these are your cash outflow, but this is just a deposit which you will get back, and this is an expense permanently. So initial investment is 26,750, but initial expense is not 26,750. You can call it as an investment because both of them were your cash flows. You paid 25,200 as a deposit and 1550 as a expense, but both of them were your cash flows. Now understand. Yeah, while Mr. V was short the share, okay, the ABC, now understand this point. From this we can say full stop. While Mr. V was short the share ABC, the company paid a dividend of 0.25 per share. Because you were having that open position of short sell, and in that time frame the company ABC paid the dividend to the buyer, that becomes your expense. That is though received by the buyer, this buyer, legal buyer, but the same amount becomes your expense, responsibility to compensate to the previous owner as well. So you will be paying the same dividend to the previous owner. 0.25 into 10,000, that becomes 2,500 rupees. That is also your expense. This is your expense. Okay, 2,500 is also your expense and cash outflow as well. Okay, now please read it further. At the end of year, Mr. V buys 10,000 shares of ABC at 4.5. So you will buy it back at 4.5. So the difference between these two is your profit. To close out the position and was charged a commission of 1450. While selling also you were charged a commission. Well, while buying also you were charged a commission. So this is also your expense. So there are three expenses. Please understand: 1450, 1550, and the dividend as well. Okay, you are required to calculate the return on investment. It's very, very simple. How much is the return on investment? First of all, find out the invested amount. In the beginning, you invested only two things. Understand, only two things. Let's do it in the time frame. Question number 19. So you paid margin in the beginning, which was 45% of 56,000, 25,200. You paid commission, which was 1550. So the total outflow was this much. 26,750. Now what happened at the end? I will tell you. At the end, three things happened. Like three things occurred at the end, you can say. Understand. First of all, let's clear about the commission. At the time of buying back the share, you were charged a commission of how much? 1450. So that's your expense. You will be also paying the dividend. We will assume it at the end of the year itself to the previous owner. That is 2,500. Okay. So that's your outflow. That's your outflow. But there is one inflow to you. One inflow to you. And that is, this is how you are going to calculate profit. This is an inflow. Profit. Profit on your position. You will receive your margin account, margin balance as it is back, but profit will get added to that margin account, the previous, or let me just write it like this. margin 25,200. Along with that, you will receive a profit on your transaction. So what is the transaction? 10,000 shares sold at 5.6 and purchased at 4.50. Am I right? Right. So what is the profit now? See, you have settled your open position at the end. You sold at 5.60, you sold each share at 5.60 and buying it back at 4.50. 1.1 rupees of the profit on every share. Total 10,000 shares. So the total profit is 11,000. Now you can clearly see that what is happening. 25,200. Let's make the total of it, the cash inflow on that date. 25,200 plus 11,000 minus 2,500 minus 1,450. So the total cash inflow on that date is 32,250. Okay, this is your cash inflow. And this side your cash outflow. Cool. Now understand. This is what is your cash outflow at the beginning. This is what is your cash inflow at the ending. Can you calculate the return, sir? It's very much possible to calculate the return now. Return is nothing but what you have, the difference between return. The formula of the return will be simple. Return in the numerator, investment in the denominator. Investment was 26,750 and the return in the numerator 32,250 minus 26,750. That's it. .56%. That will match with your answer. See, it will be little difficult to understand what has been done here in the institute's format, but it is very much clear from this that what happened in the beginning, what happened at the end. Very much clear. Okay. Can we move? Question number 20 onwards we are going to take after break, because from this point we are starting the arbitrage opportunity. So I will explain a little bit about it. See you.